So
All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. We got the one, the only, the legendary DJ Mixmaster D right here on the line. How you doing this evening?
yo, shooting out a shot to everybody. How's everything going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. How's everything out on your end, man? Because I know, like, with this coronavirus, you know what I mean. A lot of stuff is shut down in certain places.
Oh man, it's affected us big time. Representing that LA Radiotron. A lot of our venues, a lot of our concerts. We give a lot of free concerts. We give back to the people, back to the youth. Representing LA Radiotron, which is the home of hip hop on the West Coast. That's where hip hop began. A lot of our things, our public venues, have actually been shut down. Which, in a way, it's a blessing because it's caused us to shift gears and you move with the mover. The old saying is you move with the mover. We had to do this thing quarantine style and online, and people opportunity to see who we are online and see how we got down. We recently did the what was that? The 34th anniversary. 34th anniversary of Radiotron. We did it on YouTube Live. Me and Fat Lip from Far Side, which is my boy, my cousin, and it has most definitely has a damper on things, but it doesn't stop things.
If you don't me asking, what other special guests were actually a part of that 34th anniversary?
Oh wow, man, we have the Glove. We had Brother Jay from X Clan. We had DJ Silky D. We had a couple of people, JJ Fad, myself, a couple of LA Mixmasters along with myself. That's Mixmaster DJ Ralph M, myself, and we had Kid Frost. Who else did we have? It was so many people there. It was so many people just representing that West Coast and putting it down. But those are just a few names that we normally have at our hip hop fest.
I gotta say, man, it sounds like you had the whole gang back together, man, back together again. It most definitely sounds like a deja vu moment for all you guys.
Oh, big time, big time. We started back in the '80s, man. When we did this thing back in the '80s. When I started in hip hop, I started in '84. '84 was my year that I started. I was a senior. I was a senior in high school. And LA Radiotron wasn't Radiotron at the time. It was a club called Radio. And mind you, I didn't have a part in radio. The moment that they made the movie Breaking, once they made the movie Breaking, we got the name Radiotron from, actually, a lot of people don't know, we got the name from the Hollywood producers because they didn't want to conflict with copyrights and ownership rights. But nobody owned Radiotron. So after the movie Breaking was done with Ice-T and the Glove and Shabadoo and Boogaloo Shrimp, which is Ozone and Turbo, Shabadoo and Boogaloo Shrimp are the real names that we know them by in the streets. So after that, Carmelo Alvarez, which is the owner, the rightful owner of Radiotron, along with Ice-T, we asked if we could keep that name because it was the '80s flavor, the Tron. Everything was really b-boy style, hip hopish. So we kept that name. That's when I came along in high school, and the original crew. A lot of us were like family to this day. When we have these anniversaries, we come together. N.W.A came out of Radiotron. Ice Cube came through Radiotron. King T came through Radiotron. I can even remember one time when I was a senior in high school, when I was learning how to DJ under DJ Scratchmatic at the time. That was his name. His name now is DJ Entron. He was the lead DJ at Radiotron. He's the one that I learned pretty much everything from, watching him, Mixmaster Tony Gonzalez, Joe Cooley, and Egyptian Lover. That's the family tree that I came under. Watching all of them spin on the wheels is what gave me my inspiration. And as we did things, you were pulled up based upon your skill. My MC at the time, I was his DJ, was MC Jack the Rapper. Him and Ice-T would battle every week. Every week, every time he saw Ice-T, they would battle on the stage, and the crowd would determine who would win. And when I saw that, I said, I know that I have a part in this, and this is what I want to do. And here I am to this day, some 30, 40 years later.
And I gotta say as well, man, like I actually had DJ Entron actually on the here on the radio station. I believe it was last year, and he is a phenomenal individual, man. He is very talented.
Yes.
My personal opinion, probably one of the best DJs actually out of the West Coast.
Yeah. Now listen. That's my boy. I even made him honorary. What did they call it? Groomsmaid at my wedding. I got married almost 2 years ago, and he was there. Egyptian Lover's brother was there, who I came up in hip hop. We call him Lil Egypt. He does jazz now, but at the time he was in hip hop. Jack the Rapper was at my wedding, and we were all at my wedding. We took pictures and we just reminisce on how we started. And when we did this thing, man, we were just doing it for the love of hip hop. We used to get into. I had a 1970 Chevelle Malibu in high school that my mother and father bought me. And every Saturday when we would head to the Radiotron on Saturdays and Fridays, it would be like 15 people piled up in my car just to get to Radiotron, feet hanging out the windows. And watch out, I got to make a left right here. Move your arm. That's how tight we were. That's how tight we were. We had no idea that we would become Egyptian Lover. We had no idea that we would become Fat Lip. Fat Lip from the Far Side, that's my cousin. I love him. I am the one who introduced him to hip-hop.
Really? So you are pretty,
we
in a way, you are
the
man
yes.
behind the legend. You know what I mean? You're the man behind the legend. If it wasn't for you and introducing Fat Lip to hip-hop, there would be no Fat Lip. Are you still...
I was the first person to take him to Radiotron. When I took him to... Are you there?
I'm here, yeah, I'm here.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was the first person to take him to Radiotron. Yes, I'm there. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
I was the first person to take him to Radiotron, him and his brother. And when we were in high school, now let me explain. West LA has a weird flavor. Even though you hear Ice Cube talking about the West Side, it has a weird flavor. You had a lot of brothers who were in hip-hop. At the same time, you had those of us that was real West. Like, we literally were raised less than 5 minutes from Beverly Hills border. That's how West we were. So because of that, we used to boogie board and surf and body surf. We used to listen to Rush, Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, Anthrax, Ozzy Osbourne. Fat Lip was exactly that. Until he went to the Radiotron. When I took him to the Radiotron for the first time in high school, when I was in the 12th grade, he was in the 10th grade. His brother was in the 11th grade. When I took him to the Radiotron is where he got his baptism. He literally got his baptism. When he saw Jack the Rapper, my MC, flowing on a microphone, that's when he said, that's what I want to do. He was a dancer. He was an excellent dancer. We had a lot of dance groups. He was an excellent dancer at the time. It wasn't after that experience at LA Radiotron that he became Fat Lip the Rapper.
And I have to ask you as well, touching base on previously when you brought up N.W.A. actually, when N.W.A. came to Radiotron, I have to ask you, what was it like actually just seeing N.W.A. in their prime? You know, back when they're all young, back when the group was, you know, N.W.A. was all together with 5 members and whatnot. What was it like actually just seeing them come through Radiotron?
You know, it's hard to say. It's not like seeing them as you would think today. Because at that time in the 80s, Gangsta Gangsta was probably the biggest song they made. Ice Cube had just did his little solo career. So when we saw them, it wasn't like looking at a celebrity per se. You understand what I mean? It was just like one of the gods, one of the pioneers in LA hip hop. I actually look back on how many times that I've been at Radiotron and at Ice-T's club, Water the Bush, elbow to elbow with these guys. And now, I'm 53 now, proudly. But in my 30s, 40s, and 50s, I go, damn, that was Cube with us the whole time. That was Eazy-E with us the whole time. MC Ren. But at the time when it was happening, you didn't grasp it because we all were just pushing to become. But it wasn't for success. It was for the love of hip hop.
Most definitely. And I gotta say, especially back then, like they were still, in their prime. Like they were still kind of like growing as artists, right? So looking back at it now, like
Yeah,
you said, you
yes,
probably blew your mind now. Like Ice Cube now is doing movies and pretty is like mega star, Easy E, I gotta say, man,
yes,
like
yes.
God bless Easy E's soul. Quickly, I gotta say that before we move on to the next topic.
I want to say this before I go further. I want to give honor to the creator, and I want to give honor to my wife, Queen Nikki, and she's from Compton, and she grew up with a lot of them from Compton. Easy E, Ice Cube, uh, MC8, she knows personally. Even Bone Studs and Harmony, she knows them personally. It's like the decisions that I made in my life, it's like I was always somehow, some way surrounded by the same vortex, the same circle. Me and Fat Lip, we lived 2 blocks away from Tone Loc in West LA, and but yet we never boogied together. We never did venues together. We just knew each other from the hood. That's how it was.
And also, I saw a picture of yourself sorry, I saw a picture of yourself with Eric B and Rakim. I have to ask you, how did you actually meet those two guys? Because those are East Coast legends.
Eric B and Rakim, I go way back with them, way back with them. They came right. Let me say, like Run DMC, LL Cool J, Eric B and Rakim. Oh, Houdini. Radiotron was so famous in the 80s. It's like when these people from the East Coast, when you had MCs and rappers from the East Coast, when they would come to the West Coast to do their concerts, I don't Run DMC still to this day, no, and I'm not putting anybody down, but still to this day, in my humble opinion, they are the gods. They are the king of kings. They reach heights that I personally believe that nobody has reached. They open doors that a lot of people would never even touch the doorknob, as well as open the door. Every time they came to Los Angeles, they would always, some way, somehow, stop by Radiotron and check out the vibes. It was also a record shop that I wasn't in Uncle Jam's army, but a lot of people that I learned from were in Uncle Jam's army. It was one of the most biggest hip hop productions in all times, which DJ Glove, Easy E participated big time with. They had a record shop on Western in Los Angeles back in the early '80s called the DJ booth, the DJ booth, and all of these performers will come to the DJ booth. So I would either see them at the Radiotron, or I would see them at the DJ booth, or I would see them at both. And by doing that, I got a chance to rub in with them and everything. And that's how I came across Eric B and Rakim the same way. And not to mention Rock the Bells concert that we did less than 10 years ago out here. Rock the Bells, I was able to do in between shows before each artist would go up, so I would spin to keep the crowd going.
And also, going back to the Radiotron bit there for a moment, you also have your own show that you do called the Hip Hop Mix Master Show. I have to ask you, where can our listeners actually check that out? Tune in and actually see the legendary Mix Master D on the ones and twos.
Oh, that's nice. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I started that Facebook Live by way of Carmelo Alvarez, of whom I extend my honors to. Carmelo Alvarez, uh, him and his father, they owned the actual building, or they were responsible for the building, the physical building, the landmark where Radiotron was. They own the charter. Radiotron is an actual chartered organization for youth, because that's how we came up. It kept us out of the streets. Him and his father would only charge like 50 cents. The highest that I in the Radiotron was $5. And you're meeting celebrities, you're dancing. It was crews that would come from the East Coast and all over the world and battle. People from LA and we had our home DJs and we would battle, and that's how we got known. So because of Carmelo endorsing and starting and having the actual ownership of Radiotron, he knew me when I was a mix master, mixing with 1580 KDAY AM stereo. I had a couple of times where I did it through the blessing, LA Mix Masters, at World on Wheels and various places, Radiotron, and Carmelo allowed me to come back. Scratchmatic, who is also known as DJ Entron, like I told you, they called me back to Radiotron, and they said, "Hey man, we need you to represent. We would like for you to come, and we need OGs here. We need to show the youth OGs." So Carmelo said, "Hey, D, if you don't mind, do whatever you want, man. Just I like the way you represent. Do whatever you want." So when the quarantine came, I went to Carmelo and I said, Carmelo, what do you think about me doing a Facebook Live? DJ Mixmaster D, that's my page. My actual Facebook page is Hezekiah Close Combat. Hezekiah is my last name. Close Combat is because I went in the Marine Corps long after Radiotron, and I was close combat instructor. But if you look on DJ Mixmaster D, I'm usually there every Saturday, 8 p.m. around 8 p.m., and I do what I do for the love of hip-hop. And what I do, I don't represent myself. I represent Radiotron and the family of hip-hop thereof.
And also, aside from the music part of things, I also noticed that you are a mixed martial artist as well. I have to ask you, what specific martial arts do you actually specify in? And of course, what made you decide to actually get into mixed martial arts?
Well, let me say this. It's mixed only that I know different arts, but I'm not actually a ring fighter. I'm more of what we'll call a traditional martial artist. I started out in the art of Shotokan, and got the black belt in Shotokan, and I went to Taekwondo and Hapkido. Those were my hard styles. And after having 3 black belts and own my own dojo for like 15 years, and you wouldn't believe, my dojo was a block and a half from Nipsey Hussle's marathon on the same side, on Slauson and Crenshaw. I used to watch Nipsey when he was a youngster ride his bike and stop and talk to me in front of my dojo. That's how close we were. I'm talking about the close in proximity. But now my discipline in my elder years, I practice Wing Chun. So I guess you're right. It's mixed that I apply aspects of all 4 systems. But I've been doing this. I've been in martial arts since I was 5 years old.
That's what's up. I'm gonna be honest with you. You could probably still kick my ass. You know, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I tried to do a little bit of kickboxing before, but I don't know. I just realized it's probably not a thing for me. I know kickboxing is different. I tried it before, and I ended up like literally kicking myself in the face. My word, I kicked myself in the face, and I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, martial arts has so many degrees. It has so many levels. When I was younger, it was about tournaments. It was about how high I can kick, about how fast I can beat somebody. But now, at my age and my maturity, it's more about how I can avoid from using it on somebody more so. I had an encounter yesterday. I came very, 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 very close with somebody, and I give thanks because when I see that I'm able to restrain myself versus when I look back 10, 15, 20 years ago, it kind of gives me a sense of peace and joy. But realistic, when I do this, I want to be able to do it fully and be justified in doing so. So, you kind of grow with it. You kind of grow it, just like I do with my music. You grow with it.
But I have to ask you, Mixmaster D, like, what's next for you? Is there any projects you're currently working on? Anything else you actually still want to promote and talk about? We still have you. Well, we still have you here live on the radio station.
Well, let me say this really fast. Right now, myself and Fat Lip, we dedicate ourselves towards Radiotron and the endeavors thereof. We're waiting for them to lift this restraint from this coronavirus, the coronavirus to die out, so we can get back to a normal lifestyle where we can congregate. We have so many possibilities. There are so many possibilities with the Radiotron family, or Carmelo Alvarez, and also let me mention Generation Hip Hop Global. I'm a member of that. And that's worldwide. And I'm putting Generation Hip Hop Global on the on the map. And Get You Dan from New York, he mentioned he's an ambassador for New York and Generation Hip Hop Global. He mentioned some ideas. He kind of wants to start like a international mix master show. He wants me to represent the West Coast, and he's going to have other people represent the East Coast, and kind of have like a venue where people can tune in on certain days at a certain time and get different styles of mixing. But we have lots of plans, but it's all contingent right now because we don't know where the government's going to go with this pandemic. So just keep us in your thoughts, and let's hope that everybody heal from the situation and that our atmosphere gets clear again so we can get back to one groove.
Most definitely. I gotta first and foremost say, Mixmaster D, just thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy evening and coming on the radio station. It truthfully was an honor to welcome such a legendary DJ like yourself. So thank you so much.
No doubt, no doubt.
For giving
it's
us
my
your
pleasure.
time, man.
Yeah, one love, and everybody stay spinning and keep listening.
Hey, you already know. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure if you keep doing them ones and twos, we're gonna keep tuning in and watching.
No doubt, no doubt. I appreciate it. I appreciate it anytime.
Thank you so much, Mixmaster D. Have yourself a wonderful night, and most definitely try and stay safe out there.
All right. Peace and love.